can't take my jacket off because it'll look like I'm. Oh, I don't support Russia. No.
Hey, everybody. This is Josh Baker. We're live from the Three Legged Goat in downtown Pflugerville. We've already had a couple of beers. I wish y'all could be here joining us. We're rocking the Azulox t shirts. We got a whole bunch of photos for y'all today to go through. Yeah, it's just going to be a fun day of Josh Says Mean Things. I think we're on episode 27, if you can believe that. Hey, Steven, can you make sure that you can hear my sound? Just hold that up to your ear and just see if what I'm saying is. Yeah, we got the three-legged goat right behind us. Yeah, good, awesome. We got sound, awesome, perfect. It's pretty cool. We're pretty excited. The three-legged goat's expanding. You can see this isn't a scene from Dexter. I promise you. Like, there's not like sliced up bodies on the other side. They're just expanding because this place is so awesome. So we got the goat. We got photos. We got a crowd. Here, I'll pan around real quick. We got Steven here. What's up, Steven? We got Vinny. What's up? We got Jim and we got Steven too. There we go. We got everybody today. So, uh, hey, there's no tornadoes today. It's nice weather outside. It's a little windy, so we came inside because I didn't think you'd be able to hear me at all. But yeah, the tornadoes from where we are, we're only like 2 miles away. So luckily everything's safe. Everybody's good. Very exciting time. So. Yeah, let's get into photos. There's no real rhyme or reason what they are. I will say that I went through some of these in Lightroom. The biggest thing that I noticed just the use of radial tools. I really think that helps kind of put focus where we want the eyes to go and kind of gets rid of where you don't want your eyes to go. Just kind of simplifies things. So let's take a look, see what we got. Our chat's not working. Not so much. Okay. We'll just go Lightroom full. If there's comments, I'll flip over and we'll try to see what we got here. Okay. All right. First photo. Look, it's our first time Vinny's here. So we're gonna start with there you go. So we're gonna start with Vinny here. Um, and these are some headshots you made from South by. Is that right? Or during South by?
Yeah, during South by.
During South by, very cool. So this is actually a really cool use of the Lindsay Adler spot grid. The background's a gobo that makes it look like a window, even though you're in I'm guessing a brick building where that window didn't exist. So I love being able to create things like this where it's not, it's not what's there, it's what could be there. You didn't take the photo, you made the photo. And so those are always great things that I really look forward to doing. That's something that I really try to do with my work. Now, we're going to say some mean things here real quick. Right? Eyes and hands. Our pinkies are chopped off. Oh no. So maybe he only has 6 fingers. I don't know. Maybe he's bad at poker. I'm not sure. Uh, the other thing that I would say, his face is just a little underexposed. I think the eyes get. Ooh, I didn't mean to do that. I think the eyes get a little dark in there. Let me go full screen here, but I think the eyes get a little dark. And so just a little bit of exposure just in the face. Now, the other thing we can do with Lightroom now, to keep that background kind of cool and dramatic, with our masking, we have our select subject. It's going to do some AI work. We can go in just to the face, just to the body, and just bring up some of that now. Right, just a little bit exposure, a little bit of shadows, just to make the face stand out just a little bit more without changing the background. So that's one of those cool new features that came out in October in Lightroom, just as a way to bring him off the screen just a little bit. It's only a third of a stop, but I think at least on this monitor, I think it makes him pop off a little bit more. I would have shot maybe it looks like it was shot with a 35 mil, back up just a little bit, just to get those hands in there, or have a pose where the hands are up, maybe kind of up high, kind of that Godfather pose. I like them where they are. I think that's kind of a cool out of focus, but just back up just a touch where those hands aren't cropped off. That's my big complaint there. Everything else, I like the three lights, right? We got a good side reflection. We got a good key light. We got an interesting background. Got texture in the leather, texture in the bricks. Things working for us. Just that little bit. If we want to get real precise, the other thing that I would say, you could come in just to the eyes, brush tool, and then just get a little bit of light there. Uh, brush size, right? Just in the eyes, just bring up a little bit. Um, it's kind of getting a little raccoony in there, but that's maybe a stop more. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. Gives a little bit more life to him. Otherwise, really cool. Kind of got that Godfather Mafia vibe going. So, really cool. Good job, Vinny. All right. This one's from Miss Rachel Hall. Um, she also just blew out her knee, so sorry about that. I wish you could make us here. Um, when we're shooting portraits, when we're shooting that type of thing, something I'm always looking for is my horizon lines. So again, for me, that horizon is just a little bit off, just that little bit, maybe 1 degree. And then if we look, if we hit the letter Y, that before and after, just that little bit for me. This is again something, right, we're on this beach. I want to see more of the person. So I'm going to do two things here. I'm going to do a select subject, and then I can do work there, all right? So I can make them a little bit brighter, maybe warm them up a little bit, or make it feel like that sun's kind of kissing them just a little bit, maybe like 10 on the warmth. But then what I'm going to do, I'm going to invert this mask. Sorry, duplicate it, and then we're going to invert it, and that gives us the background. And then what we can do, we can cool down that water and make that water bluer. And then we can darken the background just a little bit, bring down those highlights. We can recover more of the waves, recover more of the clouds. And I think that makes it feel like we were there a little bit more, right? The cool tones in the water, the cool highlights in the sky, but at the same time warming up their tones, right? If we think beach, right, generally we have that kind of crooked light coming across with warm tones, and then we really want that setting sun blue behind. If we hit Y again before and after, I just think it feels a little bit more saturated there. So that's what I do for edit. But what's working here? I like the wild hair. It really feels like it's that weather's coming through. There's kind of that wild wind, right? We got weather kind of coming through. And so I think there's a lot working for us, right? It's a sweet motion. The other thing, the hands here, right? All those hands are present. They're really showing that embrace. So I'm digging all that. I think the moment is right. Just a few little technical things to enhance it. I think it would take it to that next level. All right, this is from Mr. Miguel. He just had his second child last week, so props, Miguel. Way to go there, man. We're excited. I'm glad you had time to even send us a photo. Um, I think shooting dancers is a cheat code. Um, People who know how to move their body makes it really nice to photograph, right? Even if you're not shooting them dancing, make friends with dancers because they'll make your photos better. And that's just the truth of life, right? As a photographer, right? Make friends with dancers. I love I love the counterbalance here. I'll make it wider where y'all can see here. Um, I love the counterbalance of the skirt and the dress and the motion with the blue with the motion of the red coming up. So we have a contrast in action, right? One moving up, one moving down. And those same two contrasts also have a color contrast, right? The red and the blue working against each other and the weight of the screen. So if we think about 1, 2, 3, 4 quadrants, we have red, white, blue, negative space. I think that really works as like a quadrant or for composition wise. The thing that I would do, I would just add a linear gradient. That floor is just a little hot for me. Just that little bit, maybe a stop down there. I just think makes it a little bit more. It brings your eye back up to her hands, up to where her gaze is going, to where her hands are pointing. I think when the floor is a little darker, we tend to go down to her shoe, and it gives us a place for our eye to escape the photo, instead of keeping our eyes coming up through the red, through the face, through the hands. I really like the lighting on this. I'm guessing it's a big softbox or a big parabolic umbrella from above. And so that one light, oh, maybe there's two judging on the shadow. Maybe there's a second light, fill light in there. But to show muscles, to show texture, to show that musculature, having a light from above cast shadows under the muscles and really helps to define those. So good job there, Miguel, in making you can see it a little bit in her bicep, right? A little bit there and a little bit of her forearm. So that's kind of a dead giveaway. The light's coming from above. So anyway, I really love the free form and the contrast of color and of action. So good stuff. All right, there's another one from Rachel. Um, I'm guessing, knowing what Rachel shoots, that this is from Bar Mitzvah. That'd be my guess, just knowing Rachel and what she shoots. They're really tough. It's kind of event photography on the fly, and then make good portraits while an event's happening. Um, to me, I think black and white's a good choice here. We have a little bit of a foregrounding with the pews in the synagogue, um, or church. I'm not sure which. But I think this light is pretty harsh coming across their faces. I'm guessing it's ambient light. Maybe there's a flash used. I'm not sure here. Judging by the shutter speed, that tells me you were at your sync speed, so maybe. But man, that's just a tough situation where you have all these competing elements working. Um, so, I think if you're mixed ambient with flash and whatever color you're working with, I think it's a good choice to go to black and white in those situations, especially for bigger lights. You're using a big, Profoto or Godox big light. They're actually a little bit harder to correct for lights. I find speed lights are a little bit easier to gel. It's easier to carry a small pack of speed light gels than it is to carry big sheets of Godox gels or big modifier gels. So a lot of time, if I know I'm working in a mixed light situation, I'm working fast. I actually prefer to use speed lights. They're easier to gel, they're easier to move, and I can work a little bit faster with them instead of having to be very precise with big studio lights. So just something to think about as you're moving to different types of events. It's finding the right tool for the job. And I always want to use big lights, but there's times I have to force myself. I think the speed light can be a better choice here, just to maybe make that ambient blend a little bit easier. Uh-oh, he's sitting right next to me now. Uh, there are two photos here, so he asked me to kind of critique both. So first of all, props to finding a team, right? A cool model, really, really cool makeup artist, and then highlighting what they do. Um, I think sometimes, I think sometimes our job as photographers is to be a shepherd, right? We're taking a lot of different elements and we're kind of getting them across the finish line. We're herding them into the pin. And so if you have, a studio that you're working for and a makeup artist and a model and a stylist and, right, it's a lot of responsibility because they're putting their faith in you to execute. And that can be a little stressful, right? Yeah, it is. Right? You have this makeup artist that's doing amazing things. You better get some good shots that they can use, right? You have a model that sat there probably, what, 2 or 3 hours? Yeah, getting made up. You better get some cool photos or they're going to be pretty upset with you. Um, and so it's a lot of stress. It's a lot to think about. So I think the lighting's really crisp here. I really like that. It really kind of shows off all the work that went through it. The makeup artist did a great job. The model has a very interesting pose, right? This isn't a standard pose, right? We have eyes, we have fingers, and I think all of that works. I think her hands really mimic the work that the makeup did. Right, that triangular, right, the crook of her elbow to her hand is the same triangles that are on her shoulders, and it references that. And so I think that's really cool. Um, those are just those little things that, right, each thing, that's just a stack and a brick to make a bigger fence, right? So the more bricks you can stack, I think the more success your photos are going to have. If I had to make a compositional change, I don't know that I love this on white. I would have liked to have had maybe some giant sculptures or something gold for her to inhabit to also call into that makeup.
It's stuck.
It's stuck?
It's still on the first picture.
Oh my gosh. So it is.
All right. He was like running through 'em.
Man.
Well, I was wondering. I was like, geez, you're
Stuck. Oh no.
all right. Thanks.
On a laptop.
Yeah.
Ah, sorry, we're working on it. Yeah, we're working on it. I'm not sure what's happening here. Where are my stream health? It says excellent connection. Ah, it should be good there. Uh, that's not it. Oh no. Never work with a live studio audience. That's why. Uh, all right. I am not sure why it's stuck. Anybody have suggestions? I was like, never done it. Don't know. Uh, looking. That's not it. That's not it.
Maybe the Russians hacked it. Maybe.
Audio's still working.
That's the video.
Let's go at a full. Oh, that's what I did. I went full frame. That's why. Let's see if it pops over. I know why I did it. Hey, look, we caught up. No? No? Still no? Come on.
Give it some time. There's usually some lag between when you do something.
I think you're caught up.
Yeah, we're caught up. Sorry for what we missed. I hit full screen. All right. Dang it. Now what do I have to do? All right. Well, we're only on the fourth photo. All right. Here, quick recap. Dancing photo. Great contrast, up and down. Really cool. I would darken the foreground. There's that one. You heard me. There's a photo. Here's the other one. Tough to work in ambient light. There you go. You heard what I said. There's the photo. And now we're back to, is this Danielle? Danielle. So the model's Danielle. All right. Yay. Now we're back. Now we're back. I figured out what I did. Outsmarted myself. What's that?
You think that first one's unedited?
Yeah. So this one's unedited. So let's take a look at the edit. Very good. What'd you use to edit skin here?
Luminar Neo.
Luminar Neo. Okay. Luminar Neo. And Photoshop. Okay. I haven't used Luminar for this. My go-to is, does she have a nose ring? Very cool. I haven't used Luminar. My go-to is Portrait Pro. That's kind of my, I don't know if it's still the best. At the time, I used to use an Imagenomic or something. I used to use another one. I've used a whole bunch. I'm always on the lookout for better skin retouching because it's such a big part. Yeah. So, I think really for this type of beauty portrait, I think it's almost a must. And I love it and I hate it. I love it because it can really elevate a photo, but I hate that we have to. That's a discussion for maybe another time. But I think you did a good job. It doesn't look plasticky. There does look to be detail here. I think a lot of times that's the biggest issue is that we lose detail. But if we zoom in, we can still see that the skin has texture. The eyes aren't soft, right? The eyes are still crisp. Especially hard is because she has this black outline here. And so that'll probably fool a lot of image editors, right? That's a very tough thing. These transition zones tend to be the hardest part to edit. So I think good job, right? Kind of shaping that face. If we go before and after, right? Just, touching up the face, and then, yeah, I think it looks good, right? Did you, and you edited the forearms as well. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, that's good. So for me, like I said, I would do that. The other thing that I would edit, you take the time to edit the skin here, this little area right there where the strap of the dress is coming out across the skin, that would be the other part that I would kind of look at to clone out or do something with, just because it's noticeable at the corners, right? When we're looking at photos, always check your corners. Those are typically where we miss errors. Yeah. Yeah, let me flip over to chat, make sure we're good here. Thanks, Ryan. All right. So, all right, Steven's sitting right here. This is a beautiful photo. He was chasing this bird from a boat. How fast were you going in the boat? 20 miles an hour?
35.
So 35 miles an hour, running parallel, shooting at 1600, that's 600. Are you glad you didn't have a Bloody Mary that morning?
Probably.
Yeah, image stabilization helps. I know that when I shoot,
Handheld too.
and handheld, that's pretty amazing. I know that when I shoot with my Rolleiflex, when I have to look down and I can't be drinking. That'll make me like get vertigo so quick. I'm looking through the Rolleiflex. I can barely do it sober. This is gorgeous, right? Golden light, kind of soft grass. What kind of bird is this? Red-tailed hawk? Harrier. I don't know my birds. Really great. A little crunchy, but it's beautiful. All right, moving on. All right, this is from Brian. Without looking at the photo, I'm guessing this is from Brian. No, I know it's from him. Firefighter Nixon, what's up, brother? crazy eyes here, man. We got some middle of the performance. She's trying to sell something here. I like this the tones, right? That pink and purple. That's always a good color contrast. Um, you're obviously shooting from a photo pit, right? Music photos are typically shot up. You're low. You're shooting up. No fault of your own. Um, I want to see her mouth screaming, but this is definitely a moment, right? Those eyes are wild, and hands, right? We got all the good stuff in focus. So this was your first photo. I dig it. I like the colors. I like the emotion, but I really like the second version. But let me tell you why I really like the second version. Um, Everything compositionally works in a circle. So if you follow my mouse here, if we start from her hand, right, which I really love, and then come down, the line of this amp points to the hands of the guitar player, and then the neck of the guitar points to all these lines of the red, and then that points to her face, and then you go to the hand, and we just do this really cool look. And I bet if you go to the crop tool and toggle O, you will get a Fibonacci spiral, and look at that. All right, so can you see that? You see how that hits? Hands and eyes, spiral out, amp, hands, guitar neck, back in. And it just follows that golden spiral. And I think this is a really great example of that. Some people call it the Fibonacci spiral, some people call it the golden ratio, whatever. Um, but I think that's a really, really great crop of it. So really good job there, Brian. I like that she's lit a little bit more than the person in the back to give her more importance. She's also in focus. The background soft also gets her more prominent. So you know where to look, and then everything else in the photo supports that. There's nothing in the shadows to distract you. A lot of times these photos, the shadows are boosted, and you see things you don't really need to see. So what's in the shadows is totally black, and what you need to see is there. So really dig it, Brian. I really like this one. Good job. To get to that again, go to the crop tool, and with the O key, you can toggle your different crop overlays. When you get to the Fibonacci spiral, you can hit Shift and O, and that will give you different overlays to look at. It actually works this way almost as well. So really cool. Really good job there, bud. All right, let's check chat. 45 Grave is the band. Return of the Living Dead. Ooh, okay. This one's from Mark Brennan, our world traveler, him and his wife. They're in Budapest right now, and he shot this a couple nights ago in Budapest. Um, I think they're working on a really cool movie right now. Um, so he said that he kind of shot this and just edited on his phone. That's one of the cool things about Lightroom Mobile. You can do some edits on your phone. The first thing that jumps out to me is that it's very yellow. Getting a white balance at cityscapes, depending on the type of bulbs, especially older cities use, sometimes your cameras don't have enough white balance adjustments to even get all the way there. Um, and so I tried playing with this, and it just, it was, I don't even know if I could get it. I don't know. It's a tough one. This one may be a black and white. Just because getting that yellow out is going to be very tricky. Because as you get out of the yellows, you get more into the blues, and then you got to balance the reds and the greens, and it just becomes a very sharp edge balancing act. So this might be better as a black and white for this case. And in that case, I would just crank the contrast and make it a very cool, kind of abstracty black and white cityscape. Um, you were pretty high ISO at 20,000 ISO. If you could, a tripod would probably also help. A slower shutter speed to get um, the crowd as a blur, so that you're focused on the building and not faces and hands in the crowd. That might be something else to consider as a way also to get that ISO a little bit down. You're getting pretty noisy in the shadows. So just a travel tripod if you have one, as a way to get that shot. Handheld city nights. That's a pretty tough way to go. So recommend a tripod. Go out and shoot it again while y'all and the dogs are walking around in Budapest. But really cool. I think the composition is right. The negative space is that nice triangle, that inverted pyramid right there. I love shooting night scenes. I love shooting cityscapes. So I'm kind of mad that I haven't got a chance to do that recently. I was just in Orlando, but Orlando doesn't have anything all that interesting, so there weren't really that great photo opportunities. So anyway, go out and shoot. I'm curious to see what else you get from the old world as y'all travel. So really cool. All right, this is from Michelle. This is from San Antonio. Um, this is I think I know this where this is. I think this is right outside the convention center in downtown San Antonio. I was just there. It's this cool sculpture right in the middle of the street to celebrate Hemisphere Arena. Not Hemisphere Arena. The Hemisphere Festival from 1968 or 9, where they built all the cool stuff downtown San Antonio. So a photo like this, because it's abstract, because it's trying to be thought-provoking, right? Abstract means it needs more thought. And so for me, I wouldn't center compose this. So what I would do is bring that crop tool in, get it off to one side or the other, and then let's darken those blues and really make that red and blue pop against each other to really accentuate the form of the abstract. And I think that would make it a stronger, I think it'd make a stronger photo. I know there's more to this photo underneath to the sculpture. I think it's a good choice to focus just on the part that didn't have buildings, that didn't have people, that didn't have cars or anything else. I think the clear blue sky really works here as just a very modern abstract sculpture. You can even go further, really take it down, bring up the whites and really kill those blues. This is also a time where you could use your HSL panel and bring down maybe just the blues, right? And I think that could look really cool. And really make that red really pop and make the red the center of it. I think using the HSL panel is a very underrated aspect of Lightroom, and it's something I would encourage everyone to use more of. I just think it's a much easier way to get edits and make certain things pop more than others. And that's kind of what we're doing with edits, right? What do we want to stand out? What do we want to diminish? And by having those color channels, we can bring up what we want and bring down what we don't want as a way to make what we want pop more. So anyway, really cool, Michelle. Keep shooting. But yeah, I would just try to make it even more contrasty, more abstract. Another one from Rachel. She sent me 3. She said later she went and shot. She put a person. She went back to the same location, put a bride there, but she can't show the bride yet because the wedding hasn't happened. So I have to judge this, imagining their bride was there. But I think it's again, right? These spirals and all of these lines working together, right? We have verticals, we have horizontals, we have arches, we have all that stuff working together. We have triangles right here. Can y'all see this triangle right there? So if somebody's standing here, all of those lines are working to point to that person. This is also a time where you might use the transform tool. I use the transform quite a bit as a way to straighten up those verticals, just that little bit from off to auto to really make those back lines perfectly straight, right? Because then the human form can be the curve. If we let our architecture be what we consider maybe the masculine, right? Straight horizontals, straight verticals, and then our subject could be the feminine, even if it's a male, having the curves, right? So the feminine is the curve, and then our structures are the masculine. That can be a really cool contrast to work with as well. Cool. I forget who sent this, but oh, like if you don't see this photo and go, oh, my food dish is empty. Oh, come on, man. This is the literal definition of sad puppy dog eyes, right? Like, the only thing I would have liked to have seen, it down here and see those bottom paws. So as you're shooting, tilt down just a little bit more, get the face, and then that front paw. That's the thing. Or bring it up to where it's not even in play, right? Right. More or there. Maybe that's a little too much, but just as a way to where you're not cutting off with the wrist. You never want to cut off with the wrist. So, but oh, sad puppy dog. This was actually shot on an iPhone, so good job. Go crazy with it. It was fun. All right. This is from Mr. Jeff Pagalis. Thanks for sending this really cool. I don't even know what this is. Anybody, if you know what it is, throw it out in the comments. This really cool classic cars with a whole bunch of other classic cars around it. So Jeff sent me the raw file as well as this edited JPEG. Let's talk about this edited JPEG first. I think the composition's great. We have a car in the foreground to give us some texture. We have our subject in the center, and then we have some other cars in the background to give us that three-dimensional shape, right? We have foreground, middle ground, background, all of that's working together. We have all these really cool textures, all these old wheels and engines and leather straps and all of that really fun stuff in there. This really cool grill, right? Just a lot going for us. Let me flip over in the comments, see what it was. Nobody's made a comment yet. Okay. But just really cool. I like how there's a vignette applied here to really bring the attention to our center. Um, and then you can't see this, but it's actually cropped to rotated. This building, the background got rotated a little bit as well. So I think good job all around of making it. The one thing that I would say is this rubber black here, I think the shadows were boosted a little bit too much in the wheels, and the wheels that are black actually look a little gray. So that's something that I kind of worked on when I edited the raw file. But I think compositionally really great. Good eye for what's going on here and kind of focusing on those things. So this is my edit. This is the raw file, and I applied the Lightroom Vintage '07 profile, and then I went crazy on mask. So I have 6 different radial, linear, and brush tools, and really what I was doing was bringing out different parts. So I wanted to bring out more of the leather and the detail in this foreground car. So that one had more shadows boosted in this foreground to see those really cool leather straps and springs. We did some to bring out more of just the engine, right? We boosted shadows and whites right here with all of this in the center hood area. We did just kind of a general brightening in the center of the frame. There was a pretty big, this was really bright, so we did a linear tool to darken the foreground. We did a big vignette just to darken all the edges. And then I did a texture and clarity just on the sharpness of, you can kind of see it here. I just brushed in along the wheels, the lights, and the grill here to add in a whole lot more texture and clarity. So the other way to make something stand out is to make it sharper. If you give one thing more detail and texture and everything else a little bit softer, it's also going to jump off the frame a little bit more. But I really wanted to highlight the texture and detail of this car. And then white balance and color, I wanted it to feel a little bit more vintagey. So I took away a lot of the reds just with this profile to give it a little more green. I think it brings in some of the green of the trees a little bit more, and there's some green in the hood there. So I just wanted to give it a little more green, a little bit less red. If we hit Y, this is the raw file on the left. You can see how that dirt is really red. I want to diminish that, and then I wanted to enhance the green that showed up in some of the other places. So, but all in all, I don't think my edit's any better. It's just another way to go with the file. So really cool, Jeff. I really like the composition on this. I think it really tells a story, and it gives our subject context. And so, yeah, that's what we're looking for a lot of the time. Whew. Take a swig of some beer here. All right, we got 3 more to go. This is from Miss Jess J. Jess just got her 3rd light. She's very excited. She just got a new beauty dish and a light. This is her friend. They did a drink, wine, and shoot. So we're in a wine bar, so I thought that was very appropriate. We got gels, right? We got pink, we got purple, or kind of this green and blue. And then we have a neutral light in front, which that's actually a style I've been kind of shooting more lately. Gel on the side, and then a neutral light in front. The hard part about this photo to me is this window right behind her head. I think it's a little distracting. I like the colors coming in, and then I like the reflection. If you shot any reflections, you'll generally notice that the reflection, depending on the material used, is something like a stop or 2 darker. Can be good, can be bad. It's just something to know. So she also sent me the raw file, so I did a little bit of editing here. I like that we have hands in it. I like that the eyes and the reflection are both there. It really showcases, I think, the color of this tattoo. Ooh, that's way too close. The color of the tattoo, right, is kind of mimicked with the color of the gels, right? So we have those colors kind of naturally there and then artificially there, so I think that's good. Let's take a look at what the raw file was. The raw file's on the left here, and then this is my edit on the right. So one of the things I did was brighten the reflection just to give it some more mystery. You see it right there. Ooh. We just brightened it by a stop, right? Stop and a third, brightened that area here. And then we just kind of created a natural vignette around everything else. And so instead of trying to hide the window behind and making that the only thing that was bright, I brightened the entire wall back there just so it didn't feel like there was just a light behind it. So if we go back and look at the original, because the background is totally black, I think that light stands out more than if there's actually detail there. Is that makes sense? Yeah. Um, the big thing that I did here is is two things. One, luminance. I just changed which colors were which brightness. But even more importantly, I did a pretty strong color grade. I really amplified the blue. I put more of this teal into the shadows, and then I warmed up the highlights just a little bit. Um, and so it just accentuates the color of the gels to push it even further into the realm of unreal. Because with this many gels going on, it was never meant to be real in the first place. So I just pushed it even further and gave it more of a cinematic feel to it by color grading the hell out of it. And some people think it was too far, and I would probably sometimes agree with you. I have a problem with color grading. I know that I go too far with it, but just to show you what it can do as a way to add emotion, to accentuate the colors that are already there, and to ramp those up even further, especially when you're going with a gelled portrait like this. All right, this is from Mr. Mark Lassad. Freaking awesome. This is from Antarctica, and it's an ice flow, which, if you didn't know that, it's still a cool photo, right? Um, I love this little foreground, the little foreground elements in the reflection. We have quite a few reflections, I guess, today. Um, the only change I made, take it or leave it, I don't know that it makes enhances it. Created a radial kind of right here where I thought the most interest was, and just added some white to make that part of the photo pop a little bit more. Um, so one of the things I love about radial tools in Lightroom is it harkens back to the film days of kind of hand dodging and burning. And I think just popping those whites a little bit where I felt the most texture and interest was, I think really brings your eye to that area a little bit more. Um, I bet his print looks great. Um, there's nothing wrong with his edit. It's just another way to go. Please don't think that I think his is right and or mine's right and his is wrong. I don't think that at all. I'm just showing you other ways you could go with your files. That's it. They're equal. Everything's cool. Um, but yeah, really great black and white conversion. Really great texture. Interesting crop, right? More of that cinematic 16 by 9 crop. This would be a really great image hanging on the wall. Good job, Mark. I got nothing else on that one. And then our last one, this is from Miss Kira. Oh, no, we got two more, sorry. This is from Miss Kira. She was trying to use gels to, this is a bachelorette party. She wanted that kind of end of the night, early in the morning feel. She wanted to bring out, there was this like disco ball throwing textures up there. And she had two lights going, one with a pink gel. And she just felt like, it just didn't quite work. So the problem as I see it, I think the key light is great. I think that's working. The exposure for the lights on the wall is also correct, so good balancing there. The thing that's happening, though, is that purple light is coming in basically the same direction as your key light, and so it's getting washed out. So the way to have done that is take that purple light and fire it into the frame, fire it into the camera, and then it would highlight, it would add its color to the shadow area opposite of the key light. And so you would get all those pink tones coming against you instead of trying to fight the key light. That's really the issue here. Outside of that, it's a lot of fun, right? We have sparklers or whatever those things are called. We have metal and black. I like that the angle is from above to show the whole party. Good use of aperture to keep enough depth of field for everybody to be in the shot, right? There's a lot going on here. So I think it's cool. I would say maybe darken up the person in the lower right because I don't think she's the star. So I would just darken that area a little bit more, and then another radial just to bring your eye, right, just some dodge and burn, maybe a third of a stop right there in the center of who I think the bride is, just as a way to do that, right? So if we look at before and after, not a big change, but instead of your eye going to this person in the lower right corner, now it goes more to the person into the center. Just those little things. You could also play with luminance here if you wanted to, right? We could make that purple darker, right? Use your dropper tool, go to that shadow, and we could darken up the magenta. And then we could go to the skin tone, just pick anybody's skin tone and make that a little bit brighter. And those skin tones are going to pop a little bit more. So just something you could do if you really wanted to to make some colors darker and make some lighter, right? That's kind of example of what we talked about earlier as a way to make relative brightnesses different, so you can make what you want pop more. All right, last photo. This is from Miss Jean. Thanks for helping me shoot a car last week. I appreciate it. West Texas windmill. Yeah, that's exactly what a West Texas windmill should look like, right? That's a great one. The only thing that I really did is just a little bit of rotation. It feels a little bit tilted to the right, so I just a little bit, just tilt maybe not even a full degree to the left, and that just feels a little bit cleaner to me. I don't know. If you really wanted to, these power lines, I don't know. Sometimes I like keeping them in to give them a sense of place, but I don't know that they add anything to this frame. To make it a little bit more timeless, a little bit more out of time, I think that's something that could be done, right? Clone all that out. Cloning out power lines is not fun, so I totally get why you wouldn't do it. But otherwise, I really like the feel. I think the orange grass with the blue sky is a great combo. Um, I think there's some chances here for some more abstract, right, with these blades here. I don't know if we have our focal length. Yeah, focal length didn't come through, but just something to think about. Could you make it more abstract, right? Could you take a different angle? But all in all, that's, you think West Texas windmill, that's kind of exactly what it should be. So I like the toning. I like the way it feels. I think that's the strongest thing going for this photo is it has a good feel to it, right? It has that kind of West Texas postcard feel about it. So good job, Gene. Let's see if there's any other comments. Nope. Sounds good. Sorry for messing up earlier. I'm going to go ahead and end because I messed it up. So I won't do that next time. It's been a while since I've done a live stream, live like this. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for everybody for coming out, drinking some beer with us. And we will see y'all next month. And we're probably going to be doing it live again. Also, send me a bar suggestion. I'm happy to go somewhere else. Send me a bar suggestion. We'll make it work. All right, guys, we'll talk to y'all soon. Have a great rest of the spring. Go shoot some blue bonnets. We'll see y'all soon. That's speed talking right there.